What's going on, guys? So in this video we're going to talk about a fragrance that if you just go off of things you read online, maybe a pass, maybe you'll skip it, maybe you'll never give it a chance. And based on what I have here to say today to you, that might be a mistake. You might be missing out on something that could be a great addition to your fragrance wardrobe. We are talking about Calvin Klein's Eternity Cologne. So stay tuned. So briefly, we'll take a look at the bottle. It came in a white tester box, so it's not noteworthy, but it's an Eternity bottle. I mean, you've seen it 1,000 times before if you've ever had any version of Eternity. It's a very, very light blue hue to the juice. Eternity for men, the only difference is you do see the word cologne printed on the glass. That's literally the only difference here. And it's this, as you can see, much better from this angle. Very light blue colored juice, because I would consider this kind of the blue fragrance take on the original scent profile. And the atomizer has always done a phenomenal job. Let's talk about this scent. So I have the notes from Parfumo on screen for you guys. I'm give myself a spray on this test strip so I can kind of enjoy it as we speak of it. So what you can expect here is a bright aromatic hit that is based around some juniper, and it's full of aldehydes. Full of aldehydes. Some of you know I'm a big fan of a hefty aldehydic opening. Bright, fizzy, effervescent. What carbonation is to a soda. Brightens up, gives it that pop, that crispiness at the top, to go with some ginger, which typically synthetic gingers kind of add a crisp, bright tone to it as well. So it's a very, very bright opening. And this does tie to the original Eau de Toilette's DNA, which was my dad's signature scent the last several years of his life. May he rest in peace. At the recording of this month makes 20 years since his passing. Irrelevant to the story, but any of you that know my story know Eternity is nostalgic to me because that was my dad's fragrance. I own a bottle of the Eau de Toilette strictly out of nostalgia. This is the Eternity for me. So this doesn't have kind of that super herbaceous, aromatic lavender heavy tone, while it still has the aromatics here. You have geranium, you have juniper, you have aldehydes. There's even a little bit of this mastic note that provides kind of this coniferous, slightly earthy, lightly powdered tone. But the biggest caveat here is the Orchinox ambroxan type of feel. So it's listed as Orchinox and Lorinox on one site. On another side, it's Lorinox and ambroxan. So Orchinox is of the ambergris ambroxan type family. Here it smells more like ambroxan than ambergris. Ambergris tends to be more of a musky tone most of the time, where you do get a little bit of muskiness here, but it has more of that ambroxan shower gel feel to it, but it's still grounded by this oak moss smell. You get that earthy green tone that really helps to tie this one to the Eau de Toilette. If, like I said in the opening to this video, if you were to just read stuff about it online, you're probably going to pass on this one. I picked this up for $20 from Fragrance Buy. There's a link down below. Comes in a white tester box. You get this bottle right here. And it's the blue fragrance version of Eternity. Flame, there's an argument for that with the Flame flanker, but this is more fresh blue. Almost light blue is kind of how I would categorize it, but overall blue. It's very fresh. It's a little on the synthetic side because it's so full of synthetics. Lorinox, ambroxan, and then you do have aldehydes at the top, but it's not like super chemical. It's very enjoyable for me. Again, I could see this being a little polarizing if you don't like this style of fragrance, if you're not a big fan of the blue fragrances. But this is a modern take on Eternity. If Eternity was a brand new fragrance, it would probably be something like this. This might have been the first release in the line because it's a modern synthetic blue. But it still pays homage to the original with having that aromatic fougerish type of core to the scent profile. A little bit of chypre feel because it's so much moss in here. A synthetic moss, sure, but it has that earthy green tone with all of this freshness. You get a little bit of spice here, but it's not a heavily spiced fragrance that's devoid of citrus, though it does have a little bit of a citrus smell, but I haven't seen a citrus note anywhere. It's so, I enjoy this so much. I like it so much more than I thought I would. I think it's criminally underrated, to be completely honest with you guys. This is one of the best $20 fragrances I think you can get right now. Is it always going to be 20 bucks? Probably not. One day it'll get discontinued because it apparently doesn't really sell well. It's a 2020 release, so eventually it's going to get discontinued. Prices are going to go up, and then all of a sudden they'll be hyped for it. It's crazy how that works sometimes. Well, while it's still good, let me be the first to tell you, while it's still cheap, it's good. It's very good. And we'll discuss that in the final rating in a little bit. But for now, let's talk about performance. So it's not a beast. And it's not weak either. 6 to 7 hours is pretty much what I've been getting from this fragrance. I would say safely the 6 to 8 hour range. Some are probably going to get in that realm. You might get more. You might get less. I don't know what it's going to do in your skin. But for me, 6 to 7 hours, pretty much consistently. I've been very much enjoying this fragrance. Projection is on the heavier side at first. The first hour is very bright, very airy, very strong and potent, and can be a lot if you spray it heavy. There's so much aldehydes here. Very aromatic, very bright. And then you have lauranoxin and broxin in the base. It really helps it push off of the skin. So it's not the longest lasting fragrance, but it is very bright, very loud. 6 to 8 hours, I would say even into that second hour range is where your projection is going to be at its heaviest, even in the moderate to heavy range for the first hour. Moderate overall though, because it does calm down into that second going into the third hour. And then once it gets down to becoming closer to the skin in what I would consider, you know, the overall consensus of the sillage being in the moderate to slightly moderate mild range. Like I'm going to categorize it more so as moderate because I do get pretty good whiffs of this one throughout the life of it. Like I said, it's not the longest lasting fragrance and it's also not that short lived. It's kind of in the sweet spot for what I like for this style fragrance. I don't have to worry about it just overwhelming me for 12 hours and I don't have to desire more because it only lasted 2 or 3. 6 to 7 hours of this scent profile being a moderate strength overall, I think is perfect for this particular scent and the way it smells. So across the board, it's slightly above average. It's not weak, and for some it might just be average overall, but for $20 at the recording of this, the performance is better than you could hope for, and in my opinion, it smells fantastic. With that said, my overall rating on this one, there's going to be people that are not going to agree with it, but I don't care, honestly. This is my opinion and how I feel about it. You have to be your own judge. Take my opinion with a grain of salt. Take the opinions that are out there on the internet with a grain of salt as well. It's not the easiest fragrance to just get your nose on. That, as far as I know, it is a $20 buy. You could do a lot. I mean, so much worse on $20 fragrances than this. But I have to say, I think this is a great fragrance. I'm very impressed by this. It's not the best fragrance I've picked up this year, but it is the one that has surprised me the absolute most. I would say this is an 8 out of 10. Great rating. This is better than I thought it would be. I thought I was looking at something average, maybe better than good, maybe very good at best if you know my rating system. But it turned out that for 20 bucks on a blind buy, I got something that I feel is great. Well, that's my thoughts and feelings on Calvin Klein's Eternity Cologne, the cologne flanker that gets no love. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. How many of you tried it? Do you agree with my assessment? Or are you on the other side of the fence where it was a pass for you? You didn't like it? Chemical mess for you? I've seen all kinds of stuff written negatively and poorly about this. Ratings are not that high. They're kind of average at best on the internet. But this is one that I'm glad I don't fall completely, I keep wanting to sniff it, that I don't fall completely into validating others' opinions, especially complete strangers with random profiles on the internet. And I try things for myself, especially if I see the note breakdown and I'm like, you know what? I might like that. And I took a chance on this one for 20 bucks, easy chance to take. And I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite cheapy pickups of the year. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on Eternity Cologne and you give it a spray now, there's a really good chance you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.